The new Forza Motorsport is just around the corner with the Turn 10 production already dropping on the 10th of October. And slowly but surely there's a lot of information flowing around the net that gets me as a sim racer really excited for this game. But why's that? What's in for us? What features can outweigh the obvious fact that FM won't be a fully fledged sim? Let's start with the obvious one, the new tire physics. Compared to Forza 7, Turn 10 8-fold the amount of contact points to the road. So they went from 1 contact point to 8 per tire, which will lead to the car no longer skipping over bumps and curbs, but rather actual riding them. That of course plays a huge role in how the suspension can really operate. Dampers and springs have more time to load and unload, which will lead to the car reacting better to geometry changes. This is of course connected and dependent on the refresh rate of the game, and there's good news on that front as well. They upped it from 60 Hz to 360 Hz, which is in the same ballpark as ACC now, which runs at 400 Hz. So the stage is basically set for realistic driving physics, although we don't know yet how realistic the driving behavior will be in the end. But I have to say, at least I'm excited to try it out now. There's only one thing that's kinda depressing the mood here, and that sounds like good news at first glance. Turn 10 has said they will have 500 cars at launch, and I know every racing fan out there or car enthusiast out there will say, yeah, 500 cars, that's awesome. But as a sim racer, we know, how will they be able to do realistic driving physics with so many different cars in the game? That's almost impossible. But still, I will be there at launch and test the new physics for sure. And next to the physics, there were a lot of news in the last Forza Monthly about the new multiplayer system, and some of those had me like, in Forza Motorsport there will be a featured multiplayer section, which kind of reminds me of the iRacing approach, because just like it is in iRacing, FM is hosting different race series around the day called spec events. So whenever you feel like online racing, there should be a ranked event coming up in the next couple of minutes. They also revealed that a GT series and a touring car series will always be held, while other series like Formula 60s and the M3 spec series you can see in the video here are time-based and will change regularly. In those spec series, cars are homologated and can't be equipped with any upgrades you could slap on it in the single player, ensuring a competitive and racing-first environment. Further, next to the spec events, there will also be open events, where you can pick whatever car you like. It just needs to be in a certain class, like the B class that is shown in the clip. And they said that the class will also rotate to a different one on a weekly basis. Ranked racing in Forza Motorsport really sounds like a lot of fun, especially in those spec series. And I'm also curious to see how that open series or class-based series will turn out in the end, and what crazy car combinations we will see on track. But, and that's super important, that all can only work if Turn 10 gives us some motivation to keep on playing. They have to make the driving meaningful and of course safe. And therefore, they also worked on a skill and safety rating system. Safety is being ranked in Forza Motorsport from F, the lowest tier, to S, the highest, and will be calculated by how well a driver follows the regulations by avoiding collisions and corner cutting. That and an Elo-based skill rating will also influence the matchmaking, pairing drivers together that are of similar skill, which is fantastic considering the likely huge player base and the skill gap between players in Forza Motorsport. Overall, safety in their races really seems to be a focal point in Forza Motorsport, with the devs even introducing a qualifier series which you have to take part in order to be able to even register for an open or spec series race. A system that has prevailed in ACC's low fuel motorsport. That already works fantastic and will separate the sheep from the goats. No, not that kind of goat. And also on track, FM seems to be a lot fairer as well, with the inclusion of the new FRR system, the Forza Racing Regulations. This AI-powered system can identify roughly 5,000 unique racing incidents and will hand out penalties and disqualify players if they don't obey the rules. It can tell if someone is cutting a corner, intentionally crashes into people, and will even get better over time, as it will learn from new cases happening in the multiplayer sessions. If that system works, it could be such a game changer for the online multiplayer and will ensure safe racing, which is for me one of the most important aspects of sim racing. They were also talking a lot about tire compounds in the Forza Monthly, which at least gives me some hope that some thoughts have went into this. There will be softs, mediums, hards of course, sport tires, vintage and drag racing tires, and apparently they also worked on the tires losing grip more gradually compared to Forza 7, which will then hopefully lead to epic strategy battles in the future. Overall, I have to say it really looks like that Turn 10 is trying to build a competitive online experience here, which really sounds like a lot of fun. But there are already some negatives that leak through the cracks, which left a bit of a sour taste. Their newly introduced skip lap feature will allow players to restart a flying lap with the press of a button, so you don't have to go around the whole track again to start a new flyer. The issue I see with this otherwise great feature is that ghosting in practice and quali sessions has to be a must when implementing this in multiplayer. They already confirmed that you can't use it infinitely in online quali sessions, but still, I think this will take from the immersion of a sim racing game quite a bit. Also, PC players will be left out in the cold when it comes to refresh rate of their monitors. To ensure a consistent and competitive online racing experience for all players across a variety of PC hardware configurations and the Xbox Series consoles, the frame rate will be locked to 60 FPS in online play, which is kinda bad. I mean, let me just use my expensive monitor and the 165Hz it can run. And to round things up, there aren't a lot of options for league racing at the launch of the game either, with the custom lobbies lacking a lot of features. There won't be the possibility to have a qualifying session, which is mind-boggling. You can just rank the starting grid after some criteria, and there is no spectator mode, making it super hard to broadcast any races or to do some live stewarding or more content. Yeah, but let's not have a too grim look at the launch of Forza Motorsport in October. I think it's looking promising, and me as a sim racer, I'm really eager to find out how well it drives on real sim racing hardware and if it is any fun. And I'm also quite interested in the Builders Cup, the new Forza Motorsport single-player experience that looks to be a lot of fun as well. And Marvin was telling you all about it in his last video, and he was talking about that Forza might be an RPG now. But that's everything from me today. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and see you next time around. Cheers!